killed. Alright. Does that seem like it's still warbling? Yep. That's alright.
My fault. I dropped the ball.
No problem. That was it. How'd that?
Sounds alright.
Awesome.
Come on up, we'll give it one more critical listen and then we can move on if you want.
Alright, cool. We definitely wanted to set out with the intention of this record being a very heavy record, but in a different way. Not have it heavy like every other Zao record, not have it heavy like every other metalcore or metal band.
The general consensus was that every Zao record prior to this, there was the songs that everybody liked, and there were the songs that nobody liked. And our biggest thing was we wanted to have an album with, 10 or 11 or 12 songs, whatever, that every single one of them we would be willing to play at a show. That everybody was happy with every song. There was no duds. There was no filler songs. And just overall, the whole vibe that it was a band, that we were playing, that it had that energy, that it was, consistent energy-wise, whatever that energy was.
That's her. That's why we came here.
We did one last night.
Right there.
All I'm doing now is just erasing the guitar that we don't need. You just pick the tracks you want to erase, and then you can turn the erase heads on and manually move the tape across the bits that you want to erase. So now, the edit bit is here. So this is the first part of the song, which was done in one room, and then this is the second part of the song, which was done in another room. Now I need to, there's another little blip there that I need to scrub off. Now I'm taking the outtake ending, the ending that they're not using.
Okay.
And I'm going to stash that on the end of this reel so that if they change their minds, I can retrieve it. Here's hoping they don't change their mind.
Russell refuses to give it to us. It's like it's young music. No, it is.
Scott's an awesome writer, so and it's different. It's something that I think people kind of won't expect, but at the same time, hopefully they'll like. Just constantly trying to reinvent ourselves.
I always write songs, and even if they're not like Zao songs, they're lighter songs, maybe not heavy songs. I write all the time different types of music.
Writing process pretty much was Scott and I would get together at his house, and he'd just play me stuff. I took a little 4-track over, and he'd just play into it. I'd tap along on a microphone to give myself like a little click track kind of thing, and would go home and I'd play to it, and bring the tapes back. He'd listen to it, make some suggestions. I'd take it back home again and do it, and we pretty much just traded tapes back and forth that way. Him and Marty would get together on their own and come up with some songs too.
There's maybe 3 songs on the record that I had a good bit of the writing on. Scott's more of a complete songwriter, and I'm more of just a riff writer, because I write tons and tons of stuff, but only about 1 in 20 is actually something that anyone would want to hear.
Although we had never actually sat down in the same room to play them, by the time we did, the songs were done. So we all knew the songs. It was just a matter of putting them together. I think, you know, it worked out really nice that way, because you weren't sitting there getting frustrated, arguing about parts. You know, everyone got to go home and like think about it. You know, they get to think about, you know, what they wanted to say, what their idea was. So it was pretty efficient.
The writing process for me usually goes, I think that each song has a different, to me, personality, and I try to match the personality of the music with the personality of the vocals or lyrics. Some lyrics are more, you know, desperate and helpless. Some lyrics are more angry. Some lyrics are, you know, more straightforward and like trying to prove a point. And I think that's when it comes out the best, when you have a song that kind of maybe is a more angry sounding song with like, you know, more maybe, you know, like angry lyrics, and the more like helpless sounding songs with helpless lyrics and things like that. So the song, you know, in the end, I think that if you take a song that sounds really helpless and put something angry to it, it just doesn't come out right to me. It doesn't like have that, you know, the kick and, you know, the impact that it should.
When the ambient mic is on, even though it's like pretty subtle, you get the impression that this thing actually happened, that like that sound actually occurred.
I think I like the ambient mic. It does. It gives a
makes
little.
You don't notice it that much, but it gives it a little bit more breathing space.
When you take it out, it makes it sound really raspy. It makes it sound like it's been processed, as opposed to sounding like an acoustic sound that you're hearing, you know, as opposed to it being like a.
That's what kind of like to be like a kind of like a generic live kind of sound, like a little like if you're playing like a not the greatest PA in the world type of like kind of like a basement show sound or something to that effect.
Yeah, this doesn't sound quite that good. Like basement shows are always pretty amazing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like kind of more that like
I'm
lo-fi kind
dead
of.
serious.
Like, you know what I mean? They're just kind of like they have a kind of a crappy PA and always like has that little bit of not ridiculous, but just that like little bit of overdrive and a little bit of kind of like dirtiness that like. If you go to a big fancy club that doesn't quite have that type of
real clean.
The main reason why we wanted to come here and wanted to have Steve Albini do our record was, number one, the fact that he actually contacted us in a way. We were playing in Chicago about 2.5 years ago. We met his girlfriend, and she mentioned, like, you know, my boyfriend records bands, and he really liked the way you guys sounded. He was really interested in it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who, you know, what's his name? She's like, oh, Steve Albini. And I remember looking at Dan when we heard that. It's like one of those moments that you, as a band and as a musician, that you step back from yourself and go, whoa, Steve Albini even knows who the hell we are? That's unbelievable. I can't believe this.
It was definitely an honor to record here. I think out of the first time, like recording any albums, this is definitely the first one where the producer or engineer recording is actually somebody that I've looked up to in the sense of bands he's recorded before. I know that Neurosis recorded here before, which is a big influence. Especially the sound of the records, like the dirtiness and the just kind of like the raw kind of like talent sound that those have.
I'd always been a fan of Albini, both his bands, Big Black and Shellac in particular. and his just recording style. I like the fact that a Steve Albini record, 9 times out of 10, sounds like a band playing in a room.
Like the bass would go by itself, and I would just go this big crunch. Yeah. Yeah, right there.
You
I
got
was
it.
trying to simulate it, but it's not.
That was awesome.
Like I could just do like a big like. That actually sounded really awesome. And the bass and drums go by themselves again, and then I come back in. I'll just probably do. I won't do 4 hits. I'll just do the.
But even if it wasn't even that short, even if it was just kind of like a quick like.
You know what I want to simulate that would probably sound awesome there, and it's gay, but it makes the point.
Okay, do something gay.
The part in that Radiohead song "Creep" where it's like something to that effect, like a real but just that one like.
Don't put that on the DVD, man. You'll lose a lot of fans.
I know.
I
Do
really
you want to
like.
rehearse it?
I really like the idea of the quick slide. No, the quick slide. Because I slide, you know what I mean? Like I hit the slide first, and if he hit the slide with me on just the first one, like it was like, bam. I'm okay with that too. I was into that.
But and the attention anyway would be
Look
your
at all these
ears.
forehead marks you guys are putting on the window here. Jesus, you have the greasiest head.
Your
Greasy
your ears'
football
attention
fan.
though, I think, is going to be drawn more towards the drums changing.
You're right.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it
the
almost sort of
drums
deceives
change
you.
will be like more dramatic change than the guitar changing, I think.
Sorry about that.
Hello, electrical. Hello, electrical. No, thank you.
Telemarketer.
I didn't have time, but I sometimes engage them in conversation about what brought them to the point in their life where they chose to be a telemarketer. And I try not to be mean about it, but it usually does put them in a position where they sort of reassess what they're doing for a moment.
That's amazing.
Consider, retail drug sales.
Jimmy Page and Robert Plant were at one point in sections of the studio that we're standing in now, and to be involved, in a recording that's in a process that former members of Led Zeppelin were involved in is just kind of like an overwhelming thought.
Pixies' Surfer Rosa, of course, is one of the most Albini fans of his recording style. That's the one they point at. The Breeders' Pod album, his work with Neurosis, Nirvana, the In Utero album.
I am probably the world's biggest Nirvana fan. There might be bigger, but in my mind, I'm the biggest. So recording with Steve it's almost like a lifetime validation for me. I am not where most 30-year-olds are in their life. I have spent the last 10 or 12 years, doing just music, and having some odd jobs here and there and going to college and all that, but for the most part, the last 12 years have been devoted solely to music. This is kind of a validation to that period of my life that, I wasn't just doing this and this wasn't just something dumb, that I decided to do.
I like that aspect that he brought out of bands. I also liked his attitude towards recording, where he didn't feel that it was his job to make decisions for the band. I don't like records like that, where I can tell that it has a producer's stamp on it or an engineer's stamp. I mean, granted, there is sort of, if you want it, there is a sort of Albini sound. That usually comes from the drums, the fact that it has that drum sound on it. Other than that, the songs aren't changed by him, and that's what we liked, because we knew what kind of record we wanted to make.
The
Scott's trying to convince me that there's a Silverchair record that's one of the greatest records ever made, and I don't even want to hear that.
No, I did not say it's the one of the greatest records ever made. I said it's a great, amazing record, and this is why. You have to hear it, because Silverchair, people always think of like the Frog Stomp Silverchair, right?
That's what I'm thinking about.
Nirvana rip-off garbage, right?
Are you ready?
This record, Diorama, it is a full orchestra with awesome, heavy rock songs.
Well, listen.
No, he just said Silverchair and heavy in the same sentence.
That's it. We're gonna download it. We're gonna go download it. Anyway, there was no. They did it all to tape for the record, and his voice, his singing voice, was not manipulated by any like auto-tune shit or anything, and it is dead on perfect. We have to go download it. You won't. It's like, you know what it sounds. It sounds like yes.
You want to try that other bit now?
Yeah, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try sitting down for it. Give me 2 seconds.
out of the room.
I wouldn't say saying prog that's.
I mean, you don't want to use that term.
Like Emerson, Lake and Palmer is prog. Yes is prog.
Yes.
Styx is not prog. Soft prog. Silverchair might be soft prog.
There you go.
They might fall in with like Styx. Who else would be soft prog? Supertramp maybe.
Okay. Hey, I'll live with that. But what I wanted to demonstrate with the whole Silverchair thing is in their record, and this is what it all boiled down to, is in their record there's a big whole page dedicated to the fact that they hate computer manipulation on records. They think it sucks. They think it's stupid to do that when you can make a perfectly good record without that. And they specifically state there was no manipulations to it, there was no auto-tuning on the vocals, there was no anything.
We just looked at it as, you know, we're not going to go to one of the cookie cutter studios where every record that comes out that's supposed to be metal or supposed to be metalcore or supposed to be this. You know, we're going to go to the guy that did the Pixies. You know, we're going to go to the guy that did Nirvana. We're going to go to a guy who recorded, you know, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. You know, we're going to do the kind of music that we listen to, you know, and we're going to incorporate Zayo into that. And we're going to make a record and see what it sounds like.
It's probably the most nervous and the most, I guess, just like recording with somebody who had recorded things that you very genuinely liked and very genuinely enjoyed before. I'm hoping that recording here will give us some sort of that sound in some way, shape, or form.
It's almost like he's another band member, and it's kind of strange for me to say that because we've only been here for a few days, but there's a camaraderie that I'm sensing, and I think everybody else is as well. Okay, so we need to play it again, and I need to not fuck it up.
Pretend that you're overdubbing.
And, yeah.
Then you do not play like Lars.
Okay. Yeah. Less Lars.
Stop worrying about your art collection.
Start worrying about my art collection. Really bad art collection.
He had a couple of good pieces.
Yeah, a couple, but for the most part, I don't know. It's just
The thing that I thought was really hilarious about that was the way it was obvious that he had an art consultant build his collection for him, and his appreciation of the art consisted of sitting next to it. There was a kind of an intensity to the early years of Metallica that was sort of unique. I put the headphones on at a listening station at Reckless or Tower or something like that, and I was like, I'm curious about this record. Everyone says this record is really bad. I should listen to this record. And like within 30 seconds, I knew that it was a serious record. And when I say you can almost say masterpiece. I don't mean that there's anything good about it. I don't mean that there's anything that's rewarding to listen to. But listening to that record, I could tell that they had gone through a really serious process to get to that result, and that result is hideous. You know what blew my mind is in that documentary about the making of that record. Nowhere in that documentary do they mention the fucked up snare drum. They never even mention it. They never even say. Yeah, the unifying concept on this record was going to be the skillet.
You have, tons of experience with the recording. This is your, you are the man.
Okay.
If you were trying to make a snare drum sound that bad, could you?
It would be.
Would you be able?
The thing that is actually kind of impressive is that there are about four. I hate to admit this, but that record kind of overwhelmed me for a while. I was kind of obsessed with that record for a period of time. Not because it was enjoyable on any scale, but because it was so willfully hideous. Right? There was something about it that was really captivating. Like, I found myself listening to that record literally every day for about a month. And the thing that's amazing is that there are actually about 4 distinct horrible skillet snare drum sounds on that record. Wow. They're all of a type. Wow. They're all of a type, but they're distinct. They're different, slightly different, horrific snare drums on that record.
I'd like people to listen to this record going, well, these guys just went in there and rocked it and just did it and just nailed it. And they had nothing fixing anything. They didn't have a computer to put in the perfect beats at all times. And they listen to how awesome this sounds. It's this big wall of sound that most people don't think you can do with tape, probably. I'd really like to make people open their eyes to heavy music and realize that it doesn't have to have rules, as all music doesn't. Metal, in my opinion, is the only music that has rules and boundaries that you shouldn't cross. And I think that when you choke off or stop any art whatsoever, be it painting, be it writing, when you stop and put boundaries on that and put little, certain rules that you have to follow for that, I think you destroy the art.
The strokes sort of run into each other.
Right. There is a part where it's a little busier, where it's like that.
I want to listen to that upstairs. I'll probably, because it does make it a little quieter. I'll probably have to lift the level on that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yins. Yins. That's us. Yins. Aight.
He's ready in that.
Sorry, my guitar was doing something weird. Sorry. I get the first stupid mistake. Alright.
about the worst I've ever played at because I forgot to turn the.
Guitar up.
Forgot to turn this like when I was on playback from the last time. That was wretched.
That's alright.
Play.
Yeah.
Fire. Play your guitar.
No. You better?
Yeah.
This is a little trickier, boys.
Okay.
If Blood and Fire was the beginning of a second chapter, I think this is sort of the beginning of another chapter. I think this is going to be the record that sort of resets everything.
It's something that our manager said as far as this being the third stage of Zayo. All's Failed, Splinter Shards, the original thing that Zayo was kind of stage one. Stage two started with Blood and Fire Bring Rest, which by all accounts and to a lot of people was a very groundbreaking record, and on into Liberate, and then, I consider that to be kind of stage two Zayo. The way I see Funeral of God, it was kind of like a getting your feet wet record. It was kind of like getting back into, hey, let's see if Zayo is still a valid thing, But because of that, there wasn't as much confidence behind it, as, oh yeah, this band's going to be around in another couple of years, and so the fact that there is a confidence with that now, and going into this record, I think it's going to be stage three. At least I hope it is. I hope it's the first of many.
It'd be nice to finally have a record that I personally could, in 20 years, listen to and be like, wow, we were doing something really neat then. It's not like anybody else. It's completely different again. I don't know how you could do anything completely different, really, but it's different than what everybody's doing at the time.
I'm going to teach you the correct and best way to wave your terrible towel. So you're going to take your terrible towel and you're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to fold it another fourth and make sure the terrible is showing. Then you're going to grab the terrible towel by the L, like right under the L, above the E. Then you swing. It's the best and most correct way to do that.
Very efficient.
It is. It's very efficient. It's my way. When you're swinging it in your house, which I do every game, you don't have people really around you, so you can do whatever you want. You can swing it. Nobody cares. Like you're not. But when I went to the Steeler game, you're a little closer to people, and there was a guy in front of me that was about 8 feet tall and weighed 4,000 pounds. So the last thing I wanted to do was accidentally smack him in the back of the head with my terrible towel. So I figured out the best way to do a good wave without having it too long to hit anybody around me.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I have to.
Naturally.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a close game. Field goal. Steelers gonna win it by a field goal. It's gonna probably come to overtime.
This is it.
This is it.
If they lose, they go home. If they win, they go to the AFC Championship, which is one away from the Super Bowl. And there he was. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yes!
Oh yeah, Heath. Oh yeah, Heath. You can't cover the tight end with a DB.
Good. That's what you have to do.
Well,
Steelers scored in the first drive.
basically walked right down the field. Just walked. I don't think the Colts know what to think right now. Wow. I'm stunned.
9.5 favors my ass.
14-0! Holy shit.
Go, Davey.
Go!
He's in! Oh,
He was headed, damn it, damn it! He can run it in from there. Don't
That'd
make
be
a
the
mistake.
ultimate just stab in the face, dude. It's so awesome.
shit! Get him!
Get him!
That's it. Done. Game's over.
Dude, 3 sacks in a row, dude.
And they're going to. Whoa, no! Fuck you fucking idiots! Get him, get him. Oh my God!
Fumble.
Why didn't you just take the knee? Take the knee and you won the game!
You gotta be shitting me. You gotta be shitting me.
You won the game!
You gotta be shitting me.
You take your knees and you win the game! They decided to rub it in and go for another point. They fumbled it. Now Indianapolis has the ball back with 1:09 left. They have won the game. It was over.
Like the 4.
Fuck yes! Oh, that is so awesome.
Oh my God. That is a final score, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't.
What happened, guys? How you feeling right now, Scott?
I don't think I can live. I don't know. Jesus. 21-18, we won, but
If we had to track anything right now, I would be unable to track.
yeah, I couldn't.
I couldn't play bass to save my life right now.